Hey guys, welcome into Faith in Football. My name is Neil, and we're back for week 3 start sets of this week for the NFL. Sorry about week 2, guys. Had a little technical difficulties here at the studio, so couldn't upload a show. Apologize. I'm doing my best to not have that happen again for the rest of the season. But listen, last week's message is no different from this week's message, which is don't panic. Look, there's a lot of guys out there who have underachieved. Is it wise to keep your eye open and keep your options open? Sure. But as we're going to read in Matthew chapter 14, verse 28, with Jesus walking on the water and Peter coming out to meet him, there's something bad that happens when you panic. When you take your eye off of God and when you start looking at everything around you. I know I myself struggle with not looking at the things that are around me that distract me from what I'm supposed to be doing for God. So I want us to read real quick. Let's see. There we go. So Matthew chapter 14, verse 24. I'm sorry, 28. Now, a little context. You know how I love that in context. See, Jesus had just got done preaching, and he told the disciples, go ahead on the boat. You guys go ahead of me, and I'll catch up. So they get in the boat. Now, the storm that they ran into when they were on the boat did not take God by surprise. It wasn't like he sent them out to, get hurt or injured. But sometimes God sends us into storms to kind of see where our head is at, see what we're going to do, okay, to draw us closer to him, because it's only in most of us, it's only in times of trial that we turn to God. And that most of the time, or at least it should, change your point of view that you can't do this by yourself. So just like the draft set up your team, you can't make it through with the guys that you drafted. You're going to need some help. There's going to be storms that come. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be, underachieving, like we're going to go over in just a minute. But you got to keep changing. You got to keep progressing in your walk and in your team. So they're out on the boat and storms there, and they see what they think is a ghost. But in verse 27, we're going to back up just one verse. It says, but Jesus spoke to them at once. Don't be afraid, he said. Take courage. I am here. Now, I'm not calling myself God or Jesus, but I'm here to help, guys. So then Peter called to him and said, Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water. Yes, come, Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and waves, he was terrified and began to sink. Save me, Lord, he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. You have so little faith, Jesus said. Why did you doubt me? See, some of the players that we drafted, they're telling you, you have such little faith. You drafted me so high. You had such a confidence when you drafted me. Now you're ready to trade me off. Now, some of the guys that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to walk you through a trade that I pulled just today, as a matter of fact. So, but what I want you to remember is that whenever you're in life, and I got a bug in here, it's driving me nuts. In life, in fantasy football, just in general, you know, you need to go in with confidence. You need to take those confidence steps. And we're not always going to have that confidence, but God does. So we need to lean on him, and let's go in to not just a season, but our life, and lean on him, lean on his confidence. Okay, guys? So let's get into it. We got that's the faith part of Faith in Football. Excuse me just one second. Sorry about that, guys. Had a little difficulty. I don't know what's going on. I got a little bug problem in the house. I guess somebody left the door open. So let's get into it. But before we get into anything, I always got to say thank you to my number one and oldest uh, sponsor. That would be Zia of Lafayette. You can find them at 235 Duce Road, behind. I was about to say off the Youngsville Highway, but that's somebody else. Behind the Grand Theater. You can call them 406-0013. You can find them on DoorDash. You can find them on Uber Eats, on Waiter. That was the oldest one, I think, the one I forgot. But look, guys, go down there. If you're in the Lafayette area, I encourage you, go down and see Zia of Lafayette. Say hi to Leonard and Heath and all the guys down there. Tell them I sent you. Just say hi. Maybe I'll be there and we can talk some football. So if you're in the mood for some good food, go down there, check them out. It's Zia of Lafayette, 235 Duce Road. The grits, I keep saying it. If I carry them around in my pocket, I could get so much free stuff in this town. It's not even funny. But anyway, let's jump into it. So we're going to start with the starts of this week. And as usual, I'm not saying start the obvious guys, the guys who have, just that draft capital that you just can't sit them. Okay. I'm talking guys like, Jalen Hurts. My mind's going, Patrick Mahomes, guys like that, guys that are at the top of their game. Okay, you're not going to sit Joe Mixon. You're not going to sit Jonathan Taylor, even though he's down. You're not going to sit Derrick Henry, even though he's not been performing up to his standard. These guys need to be in your lineup. I'm talking about guys that maybe you have a question about. Maybe you punted a quarterback position or you went wide receiver heavy early and you're weak at running back and you've got a real dilemma at who to start. That's what I'm here to help you with. Okay, guys. It's a real sweet deal. And I'm going to get to my other sponsor, Keller's Bakery of Youngsville. Remember, if you go down there at 628 Lafayette Street off the Youngsville Highway, and you mentioned Faith and Football sent you, you get your 2 free mini cupcakes with your order. Go down there and see my boy Dusty. Where I'm hoping to set up a live where you can kind of see what's going on at Keller's with Dusty one of these weeks before the season ends. Maybe we'll do that mid-season. But go down there, check them out. Cookies, cakes, pies, whatever you want, sweet wise, they've got it. Check them out on Facebook. You can actually order through Facebook for them as well. So let's get into it. No more delays. Joe Flacco, yes, I know. I can't believe I'm saying this either, but Joey Flacco with the New York Jets. Look, if y'all saw this game last week, absolute killer performance. He hooked up with my boy Garrett Wilson, rookie wide receiver for the Jets, and both of them just had an amazing day. Now, the Bengals D, from what I saw, I'm not seeing anything to be scared of in this matchup. Okay. The next guy, and this is somebody who a lot of people had really high hopes for, and it's kind of let them down just a little bit because they're 0-2, and that's David Carr with the Vegas Raiders. Look, Carr is coming off of a kind of a rough week, but he's going up against the Titans. We saw what Buffalo did to the Titans. Now, I'm not saying that Carr is going to be the Josh Allen. He's got some weapons, but he might be without Hunter Renfrow, who is in concussion protocol. That's one of the guys that you need to keep an eye on. And you guys, throughout this season, you need to keep an eye on the waiver wire, on the reports coming out of the camps, coming out of practice during the week. If you have the Sleeper app, I will show you on the Sleeper app, how it has everything. It has a section that says fantasy football alerts. It has a Q&A where you can use the community of like-minded football people to bounce things off of. If you pose a question in the chat room, people come on to give you their opinion, kind of like here. So down the bottom, subscribe, like, and share. The only difference is that I don't have 50 million people trying to ask the same question. So if you have a question, whether it be spiritual or football, down the bottom. Leave a comment in this section, and I'll get to you when I see it. And I'm very good at getting all those messages. So, running backs. We're talking Tony Pollard against the Giants. And I know, look, you see this banner behind me. You see the shirt I have. It's killing me to say Tony Pollard is somebody that you need to start. But Zeke hasn't been doing that hot. They got Cooper Rush because Dak's out. Michael Gallup may or may not be back. It is a prime time matchup on Monday night against the Giants in New York. Listen, I don't know how much bigger of a stage you want to get, but Tony Pollard has an opportunity to be awesome for your team. If you got him, start him, put him in your flex, don't care. And one little hint I do want to mention while we're talking about flex spots, if you have a Thursday game, you have a player going in the Thursday night game, you need to have that player in their position, not in a flex. Okay. I don't care if it was like Kareem Hunt. You need to replace Jonathan Taylor in your lineup with Kareem Hunt and move Jonathan Taylor to the flex spot, or Javonte Williams, whoever you had as your number one or number two running backs need to be moved to your flex spot. Why? Because stuff happens between Thursday and Sunday. And if you're locked in to your flex spot, where a lot of teams, a lot of leagues only have like one or two flexes. If I'm not mistaken, we have three, but that's because we don't have a running back or a defense or a kicker in our league, which I highly recommend. But anyway, you want to have those players on the Thursday night matchup in their positions. If something happens, you are out of a flex spot. You could be really heavy in wide receiver, but if your wide receivers in a flex spot, your starter who's in that spot gets hurt, he's out, you cannot replace them with anybody else. Okay, if you wanted to replace him with a Kareem Hunt or something like that, you couldn't do it because he's got that spot's going to be locked up. Okay, so make sure that you move all Thursday players to the position, and all Monday players need to be in a flex spot so you can easily pivot if you need to, if something happens. I myself got caught by this in this past game where last minute Gabe Davis was out. It wasn't announced until almost game time. I had to scramble. I wound up picking up Quez Watkins in one league, Isaiah McKenzie in another league, but I was able to pivot to another player in that game, and that's really, really hard. So don't trust that that's going to be happening every single time. Okay. Next guy up, Mark Ingram. Listen, with Alvin Kamara, they're going up against the Panthers, but it's not so much Carolina that I'm worried about. It's Alvin Kamara's health. Okay, he's dealing with injury. If they want to reduce his role, the next guy up is Mark Ingram. Yes, he signed Latavius Murray back. Yes, he might chew in a little bit, but the main guy here is going to be Mark Ingram. He's been running really, really well in a fill-in role for Kamara when he goes out. Wide receiver, look, guys, I'm telling you right now, Drake London has been the dude, okay, in Atlanta. Let's see. And I forgot to write down who Atlanta is playing this week. I got a lot of stuff on my mind. Sorry, guys. Bear with me just a second. Seattle. There we go. That's why I got him in there. Look, Drake London going up against Seattle. Look, Seattle's defense, the Legion of Boom, is dead and gone. This is not going to be a pretty game. I know probably said that about the Denver Seattle game, but hey, we're all wrong sometimes. But listen, Drake London has been playing out of his mind for Mariota, and Mariota seems to have an infatuation with the rookie. So make sure that Drake London is off your bench and in your lineup against the Seahawks. Okay. Next up, T. Higgins versus the Jets. Yes, I went T. Higgins, not Jamar Chase, because that's obvious. You're going to put Jamar Chase against the Jets. Here's the cool thing about this game: the Jets defense sucks. The Bengals defense is suspect at best. So this has a potential with what we saw from Flacco last week and Garrett Wilson. What we know can happen when Joe Burrow, when you actually give him time and he's not on his back with 300 plus linemen on top of him, what he can do with Chase and Higgins and Boyd and Mixon. We know all of this. So the potential here is absolutely astounding. So make sure that T. Higgins is in your lineup against the Jets. He is the wide receiver 38, but look for him to perform like a wide receiver one. They're going to have these games. Boyd's going to have his game. We know Jamar Chase is going to get his, and T. Higgins is probably the middle guy on this one. He's probably going to be the steadiest producer that you're going to have out of those three players. Jamar Chase is going to be boom bust. T. Higgins, middle of the road, and Tyler Boyd's going to be fill and roll. He'll have his peak games, and that's it. Tight end, Evan Ingram. Listen, I just pulled a tight end trade in this one where I traded Evan Ingram. Or no, I'm sorry, I traded Everett. My bad. But Evan Ingram going up against the Chargers. We're going to look right after we're done with the tight ends. We're going to pull up Sleeper, and we're going to look at what. Matter of fact, let me get that up. Well, maybe not. Oh, there we go. I'm not very tech savvy, guys, just to let y'all know. Okay. Letting a little peek behind the curtain here at Faith in Football. There we go. Okay, maybe we're not doing this then. Sorry about that, guys. We'll do it off the phone. I'll pull it all up through my phone. But anyway, and I'll walk you through the trade. But anyway, like I said, Evan Ingram versus versus the Chargers. Let me see. Oh, my bad. Evan Ingram versus the Chargers. I had a brain fart right there. There's really two really good tight ends in this one. You got the Jags with Evan Ingram and Gerald Everett with the Chargers. Donald Parham from the Chargers, the young tight end that's got a lot of potential. He's hurt right now, so the only option that they have is Gerald Everett and Justin Herbert, who you need to keep an eye on if you have him. And we're going to get into that when we do go through the set. I'm not saying sit him just yet, but I will tell you what's going on in just a second. Evan Ingram is actually the number 12 tight end overall. Here are some guys who are after Evan Ingram. Gesicki, Irv Smith, and Dalton Schultz. These are three tight ends that you would never put above Evan Ingram before the draft started. Okay. Irv Smith was targeted, Gesicki was targeted really high, and Dalton Schultz was probably the last tier of that tier of tight ends that you could take as a tight end one. Evan Ingram is the bottom rung of the tight end ones as we stand right now. Okay. Next guy up, Tyler Conklin, who is actually, believe it or not, the tight end 10. Now, Conklin had maybe kind of a down game, but like I said, he's going up against Cincinnati, and Joey Flacco is doing awesome as a starter in replacement of Zach Wilson in New York with the Jets. So Conklin and Ingram, T. Higgins, and Drake London at wide receiver, running back, Tony Pollard and Mark Ingram, and as a quarterback, Joey Flacco and Carr against the Titans. So those are my starts of the week. Now, I'm going to walk you through. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about in today's show, was being active in the trading aspect of fantasy football. A lot of newcomers to fantasy football have an aversion to trading players. Why? Because they're scared to get rid of an asset before they actually pay off. There's always that big name. For the last couple of years, it's been Zeke Elliott. Okay. My boy D Money, if you watched the show before in previous seasons, you know my boy D Money comes on here. And he was just obsessed with Zeke last year. I cannot get him off of Zeke for nothing. Now, Zeke wound up as the 6th overall running back, but I'm telling you right now, he didn't help you win any weeks. It didn't feel like a running back 6 performance by any means. So I was trying to get him off him, use the name recognition. It's really, really hard to get off of these big names, but you got to do it for the benefit of your team. Okay. So who did I get off of? Now, here's the thing. I really didn't get off of anybody. I had a situation where I had Michael Pittman, but I drafted Jameson Williams, the rookie wide receiver for Detroit. Now I'm holding him because he is listed on the IR. So I have 2 IR spots in our league. Unfortunately, Michael Pittman also got hurt last week, and I had to pivot from him and drop him into my IR spot so I could go pick up someone off of the waiver wire. Here's the thing. I really liked who I picked up. I picked up Greg Dortch from Arizona. And because Marquise, Hollywood Brown hasn't really been performing like I wanted him to, I've been shopping him around too. So just this week, it just so happened that Pittman was deemed questionable, which takes him off of IR and makes him ineligible to be on my IR spot. Now, you might say no big deal, just move him from IR to there. But here's the thing. I had too many players. I had to drop somebody in order to make a spot for Pittman or do what I actually did. I needed tight end help. Okay. Now, I know I just talked up Gerald Everett, and I really like Gerald Everett. But I just so happen to have Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. So what I did is I went to the Dallas Goedert owner and asked him if he wanted to trade. Thankfully, he's got Gerald Everett in another league, and he likes continuity. So I packaged Gerald Everett with Sterling Shepard, who has been performing well, but not well enough to replace any of the other wide receivers that I have in my starting lineup. So I'm really not losing anything. and the up and down of Daniel Jones kind of helps me out. So I was able to make a spot. I was able to use an asset that I had picked up for nothing in order to get that spot, not only to move Michael Pittman off of IR back into my lineup, but also upgrade at the tight end position, which is very difficult to do. So I got Dallas Goedert paired with my quarterback coming up against my boys, Washington, in this week's game. So the defense for Washington really hasn't been there too much. I expect big things out of Dallas Goedert this game and moving forward. So I really like that trade right there. I also put Cole Kmet, which I hate to say, on the chopping block as well to possibly be traded. Now, what I'm hoping is that he blows up this week, and then I can maybe trade him away to somebody who isn't doing it well at tight end. This is the important thing. Look around your league, see who's wide receiver heavy, who's running back heavy, who needs something at tight end. Now, also, you can go to the Dak Prescott manager and be like, hey, I just happen to have, Marcus Mariota on my bench and trade him for, a piece that you might need, build some depth at wide receiver, running back, whatever you need. If you've got questions about trading or anything like that, I'd love to help you guys out. I love pulling deals, and I've gotten really good at it over the years. So down the bottom, subscribe, like, and share, and hit me up with your trade question. Remember, I need to know specifics. What your league is, standard, half, or full PPR, one quarterback league, or Superflex. If you have a question about what Superflex is, ask that as well. And then what, kind of where your head's at. Let me know what kind of depth pieces you have behind any questions that you might post. Now, one thing I can't question is my hair. Look, you see my boy Nick? Nick hooked me up. Got a nice little hard part here. Look, you can find Nick Reed if you're in the Lafayette area down at Parish Align Barbershop behind Charlie G's. You can give him a call at 456-9062, and you can go online and set up your appointment. Just pick Nick Reed. Okay. My boy Nick hooked me up, hooked up my sons. He does outstanding work. About half the people I work with go to Nick for their hair, at least the guys. So I don't know where the women go. I don't care. But anyway, Nick does awesome work. He also lines up beards. I didn't have him do mine because I just shaved when I went to go see him. It was a couple days ago. I grow fast. But anyway, so let's get into the sits real quick. We're going to burn through these, and then I'll let you guys go and sit your lineup. So as much as it pained me to say that Tony Pollard was a start at running back, it's even more devastating to me to utter the phrase, sit Carson Wentz. I know, back-to-back number 3 quarterback finishes. Crazy. It was nuts. Nobody saw this coming. Definitely not me. If you watched the show prior to the start of the season, I was saying that Matt Ryan, much better quarterback than Carson Wentz. Boy, was I wrong. Right now, Carson Wentz is the